Hello and welcome. Happy 2025. We're excited to be here for a brand new season of our Challenges in the Streets and our YouTube series. We're happy to be here at our training academy today with our first episode of 2025. Before we get started, and as always, we're going to have some quick updates. We're going to talk about what's going on at the training academy and around MCFRS. So to get started, just some quick update. Recruit Class 56 starts Monday. So brand new recruit class, brand new year. We currently have 36 people scheduled to start that recruit class on Monday morning here at the Training Academy. Moving forward, we have some really exciting and new things that we're going to be doing with this program. We're starting off with a new podcast episodes. So you're going to hear more in-depth longer episodes about some of the topics and goings-ons in MCFRS. We'll be updating you guys and sending out notices of what's going on and what those episodes will be covering shortly. As you guys may have not heard, Chief Jay Light's going to be replacing me here at the Training Academy. I just wanted to take the opportunity as I'm sitting here in front of you guys to thank everyone for all the support and everything that you guys did. You know who you are over the last 3 years of being here at the Training Academy. I truly enjoyed my time here. We've accomplished a lot of really great things, and it wasn't for the lack of support, and I really do appreciate all of that. So going forward, the hiring process in my new job. So the applications for recruit class number 58 should be opening up in the next couple of days. We will need your support to get the word out to the communities. We're having a social media blitz and different social media outlets and posts to try to get the information out. But we need you guys, all of us, right? As the chief has mentioned before, we're all recruiters. We need everybody's help to get the information and the idea out. So be on the lookout. Over the next couple of days, the application process for recruit class number 58 is going to be opening up. If you don't know, we do have a recruitment website. It's in the process of being completely updated with new pictures and to make the experience for the customer a lot easier, so to be able to apply for recruit classes. That's all in the process right now. So join.mcfrs.com. If you don't know about it, go look at it. Post about it, share it with your friends, share it on your social media accounts. Let's help get the word out so we can continue to bring good quality folks into our family here in MCFRS. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be having informational sessions as well. All of that information is on the website. Again, if you know anybody that wants to join our department, please share that information with them. We want to try to get as many people as possible into the process for recruit class number 58. So those are the quick updates that we had up here. Oh, also COLA class. Almost forgot. So the COLA program is currently taking place up here at the Training Academy. As a matter of fact, they're operating right here outside of these doors and windows right now. We have about over 40 brand new candidates that just passed the MCFRS lieutenant exam. They're getting conflict management. They're getting some lectures from people from other departments, Baltimore City, Howard County, and some folks from Fairfax. They're going to be working on conflict management. They're going to be working on IRP stuff. They're going to be working on running through some of the command lab stuff that you guys just saw there on that video. And all of that stuff is really great. Captain Trewinski, Captain Escalero, and many others have created and developed a program that is I'm super proud of the work that we've done. And I wish I would have gotten that kind of training, right, when I was up and coming and becoming a lieutenant. So with that, also the mentorship program, Chief Jason Masters has just updated that, working with him and the Training Academy and some others. That program is brand new. Some of the folks that are getting promoted here in the next couple of weeks are going to be going and piloting through that. So please be on the lookout. Please be supportive, right? We all understand the impact that it has on your shifts, but this is an organizational initiative that we all need to support to be able to build stronger and better officers for the future of our department. So without further ado, I'm going to turn over the mic here to Captain Machala. He's got our fire chief with him today. They're going to talk about some departmental updates and what's going on in our organization. And then we'll be transitioning to some mental health talk. We have some other participants here that are going to be talking about that. So without further ado, Captain Machala.
All right, thanks, Chief. And thank you for your time here at the Training Academy and what you've put in. And we're excited to work with Chief Light going forward. Before we get into the episode, I also want to thank our 1075 media guys, especially firefighter Colin Anderson. If you guys notice, Chief Gibson just brought up some podcast style episodes. So if you notice, our set looks a little bit different. We got headphones on today. We got these boom mics. They've done an awesome job putting together this podcast style setup. It's really going to allow us to do some extra things. So we're going to have the traditional live episodes like we're doing right now, but we're also going to be able to podcast episodes. So we're going to turn this into audio so you can listen to it anywhere on your way to work. When you don't have the ability to look at video, we're going to be able to bring in outside guests more often, so they don't have to be here at the Training Academy. We can remote people in. It's just going to give us a lot more opportunity to broaden what we can do here. So thank you to those guys for all the effort that they put in to this new setup and getting this new equipment up and running. Don't want to take too much more time. If you guys have questions as we go along, please put them in the chat. Chief Gibson and some of the others are monitoring the chat. We'll get to those questions if we can and if we have time to. So as Chief Gibson said, today we're going to talk with Chief Smedley, who's joined me here at the Training Academy for our first episode. So I think it's a great way to kick off our podcast style setup. Let the Chief give his message. So we're just going to have a conversation with the fire chief, and that's going to segue to something that's I know really important to Chief Smedley, also important to our organization, should be important to all of us talking about our mental health. So to start off our conversation, Chief Smedley's here, and he's just going to kind of kick it off with some general updates he has about the department and where we are. Chief?
Thank you, Captain Machala. Thank you for kind of going through an overview of how we're evolving and being able to communicate. It's so exciting because we're able to share information. As many opportunities that we can to share information, I will raise my hand. I will try to remove barriers and provide the support so that we can inform our department so we can do even better. Happy New Year, MCFRS. It is 2025, and
it happened fast.
Yeah, time does not stop for anyone. I do want to echo Battalion Chief Gibson with Battalion Chief Light's promotion and coming to the Training Academy. But in general, just congratulations to all the people that got promoted. We're here to support you. We're excited for you. It's okay to make a mistake. If there's something you need, don't be shy. Ask us so we can get it for you so you can help our department continue to grow.
A lot of hard work and effort went into all those promotions, we know. And I know from a personal perspective, I think what we've done with recognizing those promotions and that hard work has been really good and well received amongst the department. So, yeah, absolutely. Great.
Yeah, I want to make sure we take a little time and give our thoughts and prayers to the greater Los Angeles area. They are really struggling right now. Several deaths, thousands of acreage of wildfire, destroying properties, etc. Just know, MCFRS, if and when we get the call, Maryland Task Force 1 will answer that call. I talked to Assistant Chief McDonald today. She informed me we haven't received the call yet, but we are waiting by the phone, and we will answer that call, as I stated, to help our brothers and sisters out there.
Excellent. All right. So, yeah, that's, obviously there's a lot going on in the world, and communication is big, right? I know one of your goals is to improve organizational communication, and I think we've done a great job with that so far. To go along with that, is there any other updates or things going on in the department that you want to communicate today with everybody?
Absolutely. Now I just mentioned Happy New Year, but in this new year already, and today is January 10th, we've had 2 fires that resulted in 3 deaths. Obviously, the investigations are ongoing, so we can't get into any details. I do want to commend the men and women that were out there in some very difficult times. We're dealing with snow, but we're always there to help. One thing I want to highlight is that we risk a lot to save a lot. We risk nothing to save nothing. And I want us to always keep that in mind. I know who we are. We're type A. We will get it done. We risk a lot to save a lot. We risk nothing to save nothing. So a few people got injured. I already understand there are minor injuries. They're recovering well, so thankful for that. And I just want us to continue to help each other out in that space. And we did some good things. I know there was a bump-up battalion chief, and he did an excellent job commanding the fire in Laytonsville. Volunteer Chief Sutton had water supply. I sat in his buggy with him as we talked through what are some of the challenges that he saw with water supply in that area. He did an excellent job. So there was just a lot of work going on, a lot of collaboration with each other, and that was helpful. I've been to a couple station visits. I got an opportunity to see some lineups. And I can tell you I was really proud of the probationary firefighters as they were talking about their journal and how they identified some areas where they can improve. They talked about the wagon pipe and how they understood how it works when it's on the engine and taking it off the engine. So those kind of things were very helpful to hear about how they're progressing and then how they're also have enough situation awareness to be able to improve in their journey. So that was helpful. I had been invited to a couple of probationary firefighter dinners. I wasn't able
you got
to.
Some rookie. That's the best part of the rookie pack, right? It's the rookie dinner. That's awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go. I had a
Okay.
conflict, but I just want to say congratulations to all of those who have.
You got two more invites than I did, so. No, I'm just kidding.
I know there's several out there that still have to finish, and we're supporting you. You got this. Continue to grow with that. I've had a briefing with the master plan, right? So the master plan was approved early last year. Chief Bailey provided some insight on a framework to start to implement the master plan. So what I learned from that process is that we need to have an annual conference. That annual conference means we need to bring a group of diverse people together to talk through what the master plan objectives are and solicit ideas on the best path forward to start implementation. So that's on the horizon coming up shortly this first part of this year.
And that diverse group is basically stakeholders from all over the department, civilian, career, volunteer, correct?
Absolutely.
All divisions.
Seasoned as
Yep.
well as brand new employees so that we can start to infuse professional development and succession planning throughout the organization.
Awesome.
What I also learned was the fact that there's a need for a little bit of renovation in how we're organized. So when we look at the leadership, is the right level of leadership in certain places? Are the programming and the processes efficient for us to accomplish our goals? So we're going to be looking at some of those things, and there will be a few changes in the near future. We're still working those things out, but as an example, we're looking at FROMS as well as community risk reduction to start in that area.
Cool. All right. Let's see, where else? Did you have? I don't want to segue into mental health. I have a note here on that, but I don't want to segue into that because I was talking about in relation to that Laytonsville fire. So I know you had a couple more items before I get into that. I'll segue later.
One thing that's refreshing for me coming into a new organization is that there are a lot of ideas already developed or in queue, and it's like people are yearning to have that discussion with me, to get my feedback and to execute. So one of those things that came to light was I hear it all the time, how can I get involved in something, right? So ironically, Dr. Parker, our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer, came up with a thought, and it's a thought partnership. A thought partnership is simply there's a issue in the organization, and this is time for us to think together and bringing a diverse group of thoughts to figure out how do we find a solution to that problem. So I can tell you, Chief Bailey helped put a strategy and define what that thought partnership means and looks like. I have sent that to all of our partners. I've sent it to the union president. I've sent it to the association executive director, and I sent it to McGeo, union president, for them to digest it and provide feedback and comments. As soon as they have that opportunity and provide those comments, we will finalize it. We will share it with the organization. I can tell you we already have something in the queue to test it. What's in the queue is an automatic fire alarm thought partnership. Chief Cooper will lead that thought partnership along with Chief Dempsey, and we will solicit support from people throughout the organization to figure out how are we doing in the automatic fire alarm space and what are other things that we should be doing. Another example would be researching legislation so we can address nuisance fire alarms.
Yeah, I mean that's great to know. Like people, that's a very deep way of thinking about it, which is important, right? A lot of times people like to oversimplify the things that we do, right? Hey, we have a problem, we have a solution, right? Problem solution. That's what we like to do as firefighters. Right? That's why I kind of like our job, right? You run a call, you're presented with a problem, you find a solution, you come back to the firehouse, right? Yeah. But the world doesn't necessarily work that way, right? You can present a problem or an issue. It's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to find that solution. So just letting everybody know that, hey, there's a process for this, right? There's how we are working on things and giving people that opportunity to step forward and step into a role and help find that solution, which is it's awesome that we're going in that direction, I think. Absolutely.
And that's another example of being able to help our culture to bring people who may not normally come together to understand different perspectives, what you know in your experience and your time here. Somebody else might not have had that same experience. So we're actually sharing ideas and helping the organization grow. I do have some good news, and you're going to look at me like I'm crazy that this is good news. So I met with the Inspector General. And
most people say, whoa, uh-oh.
And we're officially beginning an audit. That's good news because there's nothing wrong, right?
That is good news.
She met with me last week and said, "Hey, Chief, your agency is just up. It's your time." And I appreciate that because I'm 6 months in, so they will help us identify anything that is needs some adjusting. They will help us with best practices so that we can evaluate those things and help us get better. So we have officially started an audit with the Inspector General. I have designated Division Chief Dominic DePozo, Fiscal Services, as our primary point of contact, and the secondary point of contact is Assistant Chief Franz Penthier. So more people, you will see them in our organization very shortly to look at things as it relates to our processes, ensure we have control measures in place. They will also look at how we're executing the racial and social equity plan action plan that the department has the county has put a charge on. So I am really looking forward to that. And what that will do is give us tools to help us even get better.
Yeah, and I mean, at first hearing that, or you think of audit, you think of it like those are like kind of you have negative connotations, at least for me in my head. But then think about it this way: something we were just talking about with the folks in the COLA classes. Having expectations and being held to a standard and getting constructive feedback, right, to help you to improve, right. Same thing in a supervisory subordinate role. Like I was saying, I like when my battalion chief gives me feedback, ask me questions about why I did what I did, because I want to be held to a standard. I want to have a clear expectation to be able to do better. So it helps. I think same thing at an organization level, it could help us grow. So that makes sense to me. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and I put a report out from 100 days. So I still owe the department a survey to solicit additional information before we start to attach resources to a thing. I just talked about the master plan. I talked about some potential renovations of the organization. That's a lot of different things. So I'm being, my pace is going at a space on purpose. Because I know what I know in my history is that when you're doing too many things at one time, it's really hard, and we don't know what's working or not. So I'm really going to pace ourselves in that space. The good news is the foundation is strong. So I just wanted to let everybody know I haven't forgot about the survey. It's coming. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is that we have joined the police department's Polar Bear Plunge for 2025. What is the polar bear plunge?
Sounds cold.
It's cold,
It sounds
and it's
cold.
going to be cold. And I'm
I
challenging.
like taking hot showers. I don't know
I'm
about you.
challenging you, Captain. To come
I
with
know
us.
a lot of dudes that do the cold plunges, and they say it's great, but I don't know.
I've done it once, but our recruit class will do it.
Okay.
You will be able to get the website. We'll put the website out and send it out to everybody if you want to join the team.
Okay.
We're going to plunge on the 31st. It is to support the Special Olympics. And once I get feedback from the governor's office, myself and the police chief Ramada is going to challenge the governor to do it as well. So I ask that you sign up so
All right.
we can show force.
All right, I'll say I said I'm normally a warm shower person, but for you, Chief, I might have to take the plunge. We'll see. Is there any other topics that you want? I know we do have another minute or two. We're not going to cut you off, so if you want to before we get into our next into our segue here, is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Please, I can tell you we have from the command staff. We're doing our due diligence to get out and talk with you, listen to you. Please don't be shy. Sometimes it seems like we're pulling information out of you. We're not coming because something's wrong. We're coming really to see if what's going on is working and what else we need to do better. So take those opportunities to really provide information so that we can take that information and make decisions with it.
Yeah, I think to illustrate that point, right, normally, like, I don't want to say I'm interviewing you, but it's not normal for a captain to be, not the thing I'm interviewing, grilling you, but to talking to but we're having a human conversation, right? We're all, at the end of the day, we're all people, no matter what your rank is in the organization and everything else. I think this format, this podcast, this kitchen table style format is, that's conducive to, I think, improving communication, letting everybody know that, hey, like, yeah, we have a rank structure, right? It's the fire department. We have a hierarchy, but at the end of the day, we're all people, right?
Yes.
We need to be able to talk to one another,
Absolutely.
and that's how we solve problems and move forward, right? So,
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome. Chief Gibson, did you have any questions that came in, or we're okay to move on? All right, cool. So the next part of our episode, we're going to talk about something that people don't like talking about, frankly, right? It's something I know that's very important to you.
Yes.
It's very important to us as an organization, and it should be very important to all of us personally, and that's mental health.
Yes.
We have a mental health team in Montgomery County. We have outside resources as well. So we're going to bring some of those people in to talk with us and go over some of the things that are available. So do you have a piece on mental health that you want to share before we bring in our other panelists?
Yeah, so just I want to give credit where credit is due. I can tell you President Buttle and I have had several conversations about this, and this is long overdue. So I just wanted to say that this was a collective effort to bring this team together to talk through these things and demonstrate what we have. You said it earlier, we're humans. So all humans in some part of their life go through several challenges, and it's okay. What's not okay is to bottle it up and not get the help that's available to you. So we're going to transition and talk about what is available to you and if you're in need of help going through a mental challenge.
Great. So, excellent points. We're going to take a quick break. Please, nobody leave. It's just going to be about a minute or so, a little interlude here. We bring our other panelists here, get them up on the air, and then we're going to continue our conversation on mental health. So go ahead and break, guys. We'll bring everybody else in. Stand by. All right. Thanks, everybody, and welcome back. I'm still getting music in my ear in case that's a problem from the production end. Yeah, we're still hearing music. We work through these technical things. This isn't Hollywood. All right. Music's gone. I think we're good. Yeah, no, we don't do Hollywood. This is real life. Like I said, kitchen table talk, right? Anyway, so thanks everybody. Welcome back. Hopefully you stayed with us through a little break. So obviously you guys can see we brought some additional panelists in here to join us. So I'm just going to go around the table. I don't even know what's left or right, depending on how you're looking at us. So we'll just go from that end to this end, right? So we have Eric Vezinen here, who's the IFF 1664 Peer Support Coordinator. Next to him, we have Dr. Rebecca Lee, who is our psychologist supervisor for Montgomery County Fire Rescue. Obviously, we have Chief Smedley still here. Myself. We have Captain Mike Phillips, who is the peer support and mental health captain over at Fromm's. And then we have Ed Rush, who's the volunteer peer support leader and representative. So obviously, I have to say there's an elephant has appeared in the room while we were away also. So Ed, do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you know about the elephant in the room?
Yeah, that's it's not my emotional support animal. It's a reminder that there is the elephant in the room that nobody really likes to talk about, and that is the mental health issue, which is why we're here. Each of the last several years, more firefighters have died by suicide than actual line-of-duty deaths. The National Fallen Firefighters Foundation estimates between 100 and 200 firefighter deaths by suicide each year, which is 2 times the rate of the general population. PTSD and other mental health issues have also contributed to a much higher rate of substance abuse issues amongst firefighters. And we all know that there's that stigma that goes along with that we're all trying to overcome, because we need to overcome that stigma if we're going to be able to move forward and solve this issue.
Yeah. So just those facts are pretty sobering, right? I know we are all type A personalities, or for the most part, you just kind of highlighted that, right? We don't often want to accept help for ourselves. And that's big. We have resources, right? Does everybody know about the resources in the county? Probably not, right? We put them out. We send emails. We have people to help. The hardest thing sometimes is asking for help, though, right? Dr. Lee or Captain Phillips, do you guys want to elaborate a little bit more on I don't know where you exactly want to go. And do you want to talk about the resources first, or what you do, or where do you want to go first?
We can go ahead and talk about the resources that the county does provide. Dr. Lee, if you want to talk
Sure.
about your shop.
So our team consists of our mental wellness team, which is myself. We have Lori Rickelman and Nicholas Young. They're both licensed therapists as well. And we have our administrative aide, T. Daniels. We take in requests every day when people are reaching out because they want to seek individual counseling or family counseling or couples counseling. Sometimes people need help finding other types of resources that they don't have the time to look for, or they don't know where to start. We get requests for clinicians outside of our department. So sometimes we need a psychiatrist consultation, or maybe even they're looking for a neurologist or even a primary care doctor. So we take requests when people need help finding any sort of care, and T. Daniels helps us to connect them with somebody that is taking new clients and is taking their insurance. But for our team in-house, we take requests from our Quick Links page. We have a form that people can fill out. And on that form, they ask us, or we ask for basic information like shift, what station that you're at, what are some of the things that you're struggling with. We have a whole menu of options that people might be dealing with. And we do that because sometimes people aren't sure of how to say what it is that they're experiencing, that they're really struggling with. And it might be, I'm dealing with this issue with my relationship. But then they see this list and like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm having trouble with my sleep, and I'm actually having trouble at work, or I'm having trouble where I'm going to sleep and I keep having these dreams about a call that I ran 10 years ago, right? So we get a number of requests for a very wide range of things. And I think a lot of people think when they come to us that there's a limit on how often they can see us, on the number of sessions they can get with us. If they meet with us one time and then they stop seeing us, can they still see us 3 years later? The answer is yes. We are a confidential and a free service, and there's no limit to if somebody stops seeing us because they feel like things are going better and they want to terminate services with us, they can always come back. If something else comes up or if things persist for them, they can come back. We don't have a cap on that. And this service is available for both career members, volunteer members, family members. So we actually see a lot of family members for people in the department. That includes spouses and their children as well. In addition to our team, we also have our peer support team. We have two peer support teams. We have our county-provided peer support team, and then we have our union peer support team. So I'll turn it over to Mike for that one.
Yeah, so we do have both peer support teams. I'm in charge of the county-run peer support system team. So you may see me coming to stations after unfortunate calls, helping to brief people as well. Like we said, my office is at Fromm's. So with that, on the mental health page, we have a list of our providers, or not providers, but our peers that are on there. So, I recommend people all the time to reach out. Sorry, am I not talking loud enough?
You're okay.
All right.
Just help me out.
So I have there's a list online of our peer supporters that you can reach out. Fez at the union as well has a large cadre of people. If you don't want to talk to the county people, as long as you're talking to somebody, but he has as well as long list of peer supporters for the union.
So if you're somebody who's not as familiar like me, peer support and CISM, are they the same? Is that, or no?
It's not.
Okay.
Peer support is more of a broader reaching out, helping that person before. CISM is more of a critical incident event that we now come in, talk about, and try to debrief that event before it turns into something worse.
So it's more of like general peer mental health versus post-incident?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
If you look at it like it's a pizza, CISM is a slice of that pizza. CISM is
Gotcha.
reactive, and peer support is proactive. Not saying anything negative about CISM,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it's a
I
reaction.
just want to make sure
to
everybody
something that's
understands that,
happening.
because I don't know if I fully understood the difference.
Yep. And so the peer support is, you're having a bad day and you just want to talk to somebody that's understands what we do.
Peer support's 24/7, 365. It can be something that has, because you ran a call, it can be something that has everything to do with the fire department, nothing to do with the fire department, anything that's going on with you or a family member. Peer support is there to guide you to resources. We're not therapists, we're not doctors, we're not going to pretend like we are. We're people with life experience that needed their own peer support and their own treatment, stuff like that, most of us, that have gotten the training to have active listening skills and help people to the resource so they can go get the help they need.
Right.
I think one of the very, very important that everybody is aware of also is the confidentiality nature of peer support and CISM. That, the day one when we take the beginning training to be involved in this, the very first thing they hammer into you is the confidentiality, because anything that you say is between you and the peer supporter or the CISM person, and does not go on your record, does not get back to the department. It is absolutely 100% confidential.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I should have mentioned that for us as well. It's 100% confidential. I think people are fearful that if they come and talk to anybody from our team, that they're going to be pulled from the floor, they can't go to work, or something else is going to happen where it's going to get back to their crew or their captain or their chief or whoever. But we do not share people's information.
And you don't even work out of Fromm's, correct?
Correct.
You have your own
We have our
facility.
own. Yeah,
I think
we
a lot of
have our
people
own-
don't realize that.
Right. So we did that intentionally because we didn't want our shop to be associated with the rest of the department, because we want to maintain people's confidentiality. That is our number one priority.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Just want to mention there's two ways that you'll lose your confidentiality. One is if you threaten to kill yourself or to kill someone else. Then we are bound by law to react to that. But otherwise,
Right.
nobody's going to find out you ever talked to any
Right.
of us.
Yeah. In
Right.
terms of, I'm not going to turn around and tell Chief Smedley, hey, Mike Phillips came to my office today to tell me he's thinking about this, this, and this, when it's not related to anybody's immediate safety, right? If I'm not going to turn around and tell somebody's captain or chief about the things that they're experiencing at home, if it's not if that person didn't give me consent to speak to somebody on their behalf.
Yeah, and to kind of circle back, with my shop, I've seen many people since July when I started, and trying to get them the resources and help that they've needed, and nobody knows. Nobody's gonna know, right? Chief Smedley wants to make sure that I'm doing my job getting you the help. That's all that is ever going to be told. So, my shop, Doc Lee's, the union, we're all in agreement with that. When you come and reach out for help, we are here for you, and that is all.
I think the most important thing for people to know too is if they need any kind of help, which again in my head it associates it's the department's peer support and mental health. It's if something bad's going on at work, if I don't get along with my coworker, if I ran a bad call, they're here to help me. I personally just never associate it with, hey, I'm just having issues in general with whatever it is, and I can get help from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people think that if they reach out to us, it's only for work-related things, but that's not the case. I would say that a majority of the people that I speak to for individual therapy, it's not work-related. It's stuff that's going on at home. And that stuff is really important to address because it seeps into how you're performing at work and vice versa.
So we all have, you heard me talk before, I've said it before, but we all have a vessel, a cup, a bottle, whatever, that we are dealing with in our minds, right? So you have a bottle, and we're at work for a third of our lives, right? We come in every third day. But the other 2/3 is what affects this bottle too, right? So you have financial problems, now your bottle's half full. You have marital problems, now your bottle's 3/4 of the way full. And now you come into work, and most of us, we come into work to have fun, to be around our friends, right? That's most of our stations, our second family. And now we have an event, be it the tragic call, something happens at work, whatever it is, that now we've now bubbled over out of this bottle, right? And now we're in a place where we don't know what to do. And you see people break out into different coping mechanisms, alcohol, drugs, substance abuse, whatever. And when that happens, we're now almost too late, right? I can still get you resources and FROMs. We can put you off, try to do workers' comp, which we'll circle back to later. But there are things that we can do for that, but it is a lot easier if I stop you when you're at a half a bottle, right? The county has EAP. You have financial issues. You have marital issues. You can talk with Doc Lee, obviously, but the county offers an EAP. In that EAP involves financial assistance, right? We have things in there. Marital, I as well have a list that psychiatrists and psychologists that have been vetted through the Union Center of Excellence that they've shared with me that we can use to get help. Brother Fessenden has
whatever.
Yeah, well, he has
it's a casual conversation.
Tell me whatever you want to. I don't care.
He has
everybody knows me as Fez anyway,
that.
So it makes sense. And you can call me that. I don't care.
But the union has a huge resource for us too that we can access. So the biggest thing is asking for help before this bottle fills up, and now it's a situation where it's affecting work, it's affecting your home life, it's affecting something, because our jobs, we see so much. There's more statistics that I can run with. Ed brought up a huge thing with the suicides, but the one I heard the other day was 11% of firefighters have acknowledged, and so it's probably higher, but have acknowledged some sort of PTSD. So you're like, okay, 11%, what is that? That's 1 out of 6 people. So that means every single one of our shifts, right, probably has had one person on your shift that has experienced this. So station 25, I might have had 2. So these are real numbers that when we start looking into these events that, it's public safety. We see a lot of bad things. And when you start adding that to real life, other challenges, it's okay if your bottle overflows, but let's get you the help before it does.
If you don't mind, I apologize for cutting in, but most of the bottle that you're talking about had nothing to do with the fire department.
Yep.
And what I really want people to understand is that we have resources. The county has them, the union has them, and we work together now, which is really nice. Thank you, Chief. We can, like you said, we can fix it, or we can't fix it. We can get you to the resource so the resource and you can fix it long before it gets anywhere near the top.
Right.
Because I think one of our questions would be like, what are the upticks you see? I see a bunch of people calling me when it's too late. And it's never too late to get help. It's never too late to stop drinking. It's never too late to get off drugs. But when you're calling me after you know about your IA interview, you're kind of behind the eight ball. You're calling me between your court cases. Right? You don't need to get off the rails completely. Just hit a speed bump and reach out to somebody. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be Mike. It doesn't have to be Dr. Lee. Say something to somebody, because all these things are just little hiccups. We don't need to get off the rails and crash through the woods.
Right. It's a lot easier at our level to fix stuff than, unfortunately, once it gets to the chief's level. Right. Yeah. So if there's something.
Right, his hands are tied on some of this stuff. He doesn't have a choice.
Right.
I do think that sometimes it's about awareness. So, like, if what Pez is saying, if they are in between court cases, it might not have clicked for them that this is a problem, right? They're dealing with legal problems. They're not thinking about, how did I get here? What brought me to this point?
Right,
what should I be doing differently?
A lot of their coworkers have seen them coming off the rails long before that person actually got themselves in trouble. So we need people to speak up and go, Mike, you're not acting yourself.
Yep.
The perfect example I give to people, or I say all the time, is shift mates will probably see a problem before family members will. And because firefighters are creatures of habit, and I got to work at 5:05 every shift. And if I was late, somebody should have asked me later than that. Somebody should have asked me why, right? And like when the Bay Bridge was closed, I was a little bit later than normal. But you just simply go, hey, you always get here at 5 after 5. Like, what's up? And my dog was sick, my kid was up all night. Okay, but 5 shifts later, when they're still coming in, they're just getting closer and closer to 7 o'clock. Something's wrong. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to them, call one of either the county citizen peer support team or the union's peer support team, and just go, hey, I need you to put Captain Phillips on your radar. Okay, and then we just go to the station, and they have no idea they're getting peer support 90% of the time.
Right.
I was going to ask that. So can I call for somebody else?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I beg you to, because actually, in my experience from doing this since 2017, most of the time it's someone calling for someone else, and I'll go to the station. Like,
I'm willing to help anybody. I don't know if I know how to do it. Right, so it could be if it's something that I can just say, hey,
call.
Yeah, right. If that's it, like I just don't know if I can do it myself, right? But if I can get you guys,
and
email.
nobody has any idea why we're there. I go to the station, ask the officer, like I normally get there around lineup, say, is there any chance I can talk to the crew right after lineup? They say sure. I do a spiel on what peer support is. I'm sorry?
Planting a seed.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah. But the whole time, they have no idea. I'm focusing on that one person, I see everybody, but I'm focusing on the person to see how they're reacting, this, that, and the other. And if they don't immediately come to me, because I've done this a couple hundred times now, if they don't come to me immediately after everybody's broken up to do their thing, all I got to do is wait. Yeah. But the scary part is I get to a firehouse with 11 people working there, and I'm only needing to talk to one person, and 2 shifts later, 8 of them have a therapist now. I think we have a problem.
Yeah. So I just quickly did some math. So in 2024, and all these are unfortunate, there were 6 fire fatalities, and I don't have the exact numbers yet, but it's about anywhere between 700 to 800 other deaths that we saw. So let's just give it a basic number. In a 25-year career, we see over 17,000 dead people. Think about that. Military, a 25-year career in the military doesn't reach that. It's not that many wars. 17,000 dead people. That's astonishing.
Mm-hmm. So to add to that, Chief, I've been to a couple classes, obviously, and what they're finding is during the war and everything else, everything was really studied with the military for PTSD, but nothing has been done really for first responders yet. The National Union has been working on that, but we just don't have the statistics like the military does. And if any military out there in the department disagree with me on what I'm about to say, I'm sorry. That's just what I've been told. But one of the classes I went to, there was a Marine that taught one of the classes, and he's a firefighter down at D.C., and he said, look, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. He was deployed for twice. And he's like, out of that deployment, he goes, that was a short window. DC works 24/72, so he said, every day now since I'm here, every day out of 4, I see something horrible, and I have a 20 to 25 year career. And all of that adds back to this bottle, like you just said, with all those deaths and everything. We're not meant to see, human beings aren't meant to see what we see. So when it builds up, the biggest thing is reaching out for help. And I want to segue back to this because this is perfect, right? We got a dining room table here. The best place for us in the fire department is that dining room table with your shift, right? We come back from calls. We have a dark humor. It's one of our coping mechanisms, but
It's a healthy coping.
it is. It's very much so. But our shift is our family. And sitting around this dining room table talking after that call is the biggest thing that you can use to debrief after that event. Or same thing, I can't tell you how many times in my career I've been pulled aside by the master. Hey, let's go over here to the engine bay and go talk. Hey, what's going on? So while, yes, we have the peer support teams and CISM teams and Doc Lee with the mental health suite, the first step is that person at that station asking, are you okay? Seeing that difference, are you okay? No. Okay, let me we talk at the dining room table, we talk in the engine bay, or let me get the peer supporter. But starting that conversation is all the biggest first step that we can do to help our people, is just look at your shift mates, look at your people and say, are you okay? So
I think that makes me, hearing these numbers makes me think about this picture that I like to present to people. When people are experiencing a lot of significant traumas, and I think people in the department specifically really like to compartmentalize. Like, that really works for people. And that makes a lot of sense. Short term, that makes a lot of sense. You got a job to do. You got to put that stuff away. You got to finish what you're doing. You can come back to it later. But I think a lot of people forget to come back to it later, or they refuse to come back to it later. And so I like to use the analogy of hoarding, because if you're compartmentalizing, you're saving that trauma, that incident, you're putting it in a box, shove it in the closet, that closet's going to get full. Your house is going to get full. Eventually, what's left? Nobody knows what's going on in there. You're alone in there. Who can get to you, right? So I think being proactive is what we're all talking about, in recognizing this is something that actually has been sitting in this box for a long time, and it's now starting to get into every other part of my life, and I am alone because I have collected so many things that nobody can get to me. I've isolated myself accidentally. So it's important to be proactive, not only for yourself, but for your peers, and when you recognize that other people are experiencing that too.
So you explained me perfectly, and we don't know each other that well, but I did that, right? And what I realized was that if I made myself busy, then the things in my box didn't come back up. So if you go from a Battalion 2 station to Station 25, and then when that's not working anymore, because 25 runs a little bit of calls, or they ran a lot when I was there at least. When that didn't work, I started working at the academy. When that didn't work, I worked at the academy and overtime. I just made myself so busy that because the stuff would come out of the box when I'm trying to sleep, but it can't come out if I'm just passing out because I'm too tired.
Yeah.
So when I retired, going from working at 25, teaching at the academy almost every day, blah, 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 to retired because I hurt my neck, everything came out of the box at one time. And I had no idea what to do. So I got all the way to, I got an idea, let's make a plan so I don't have to see this stuff every night and not be in a panic all the time. So I almost ended myself, and I'm sure there's some people watching that would have been like, go for it. I'm just kidding, but I almost did. And just reaching out, I'm here for what that's worth. I'm happy about being here, and so is my family. So
We are too, man.
I appreciate just being silly.
Chief
but
Gibson had something I think
have
came
a
in that's
question.
pertinent.
It was texted to me. It's not from the chat, but either way, it's good that people are engaging. And it kind of touches on what Dr. Lee was just speaking about. So if you think that a coworker needs help, a shift mate needs help, how do we alert the support team, and who needs to know, and how does a regular firefighter, or I shouldn't say a firefighter, right? A member of our department, how does he get help for someone on their shift?
I'm glad that you asked that question, because one of the things that our team does is we do consultations. So on our Quick Links page, there's that form. You can fill it out and say, I have questions about a peer that I work with. I'm noticing these things, but I don't know how to approach them. I don't know how to talk to them. I don't know if I should say something to them. Like, what can I do to better support them while I'm seeing them every third day? We take those calls.
Can you guys show how to get to the form? I think we have a little
we have
video.
some media there for the guys in the back. They'll put it up.
So, it's right off of Quick Links, the mental health tab. Doc Lee's information for the request is right up top. Also right there is the PSISM tab, which would have the list of providers. For me, you can just reach out to me via email, call, text, whatever. We do have the CISM hotline. That rings down to 4 people or 5 people now, the managers. And with that is more of an alert activation for us to go out to a firehouse after a bad call type of thing. But that number is always answered. You leave a voicemail and we'll call you back within 15 minutes. So if you can't find my email, you can't find Doc Lee, that is always a reason or a reasonable way to get a hold of us is to call that number, and you will get a phone call back from somebody on our team. And then obviously Fez, yours is contacting
Ours is
you.
just a little bit different. We don't have any, at this time, we don't have any forms. We don't have a warm line or a hotline. We have 12 members that are currently engaging with people, including myself. Call my cell phone number. I'm going to answer it. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter what day of the week. I'm going to answer it. So are other peer supporters. We just don't necessarily do the formality of having an intake form or an email coming to us. Just call me. We'll get you the resource. I'm going to do some active listening skills. I'm going to probably relate to 90% of the stuff you're talking about because of my diagnosis and being divorced twice in my life. So most of the things that come through us are those types of things. I've abused my pain medicine in the past, so I understand addiction. So I can listen and understand, figure out where this person needs to go, and then tell them about resources. And 80% of the time they go, well, which one do you think I should do? Well, I'm not a doctor or a therapist, but you may want to look more into this. So.
And Ed, is there any difference from a volunteer that needs peer support? Is it still using the Quick Links method? I know, obviously.
Yes, yeah, and I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you mentioned it. Everything that we've talked about is available to all the volunteers as well as the career side. If you see a fellow volunteer, it's a little bit harder sometimes on the volunteer side because we don't see each other as often. Although a lot of the stations do have like the Monday night crew, the Tuesday night crew, so you're seeing the same people once a week at least. Not as often as the career people do, but some stations it's not as often. So it's a little bit harder to maybe see when things are happening with other people. But if you feel that there's something that you need, absolutely the same numbers, the same procedures, and the team consists of volunteer and career members, but we're all pretty much trained the same. And it doesn't mean that volunteers might end up. I mean, I'm a volunteer now, but I was 26 years career in New York, so I see both sides of it. We have a lot of some of the other volunteer members who've also been career, and the career members that work regularly with the volunteers. I know we have a very good relationship at my station between some of the career and volunteer. So I don't really see an issue one way or the other.
I'm not speaking for the International Association of Firefighters or Local 1664 with this next statement. If you find my cell phone number, I don't care if you're sitting at a bus stop and never even seen a fire truck. I'll get you help. I don't care if it doesn't make any difference to me who you are. But that's not an official statement from anyone except for Eric Fessenden. But feel free, find that number, and if you're not comfortable talking to me because I'm a union guy or this, that, and the other, at least I will be active listening skills and probably make you feel somewhat better until I can get you to Ed or whoever it is they wish they reached out to, but they don't want to wait for a form or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to add too is that I think one of the most important things we've talked about when you see other people that have the needs, and we have a list of how some of the stuff can present itself up there. But the one thing I always like to talk about is change. You see a major change in somebody. The person who's always the life of the party is now somewhat morose, and the person like Eric said, who's always on time is suddenly show up late. The person whose uniform is always crisp and perfect is suddenly showing up with a soiled uniform or wrinkled. the person who never really drinks, maybe you smell some alcohol in their breath when they come to work, or, they used to have one drink if you went out afterwards. Now they're getting hammered on a regular basis. Those are the items that when you see those, something needs to be done.
Another thing I would add is if they disengage with the rest of the shift, if they're not showing up for drills, or they have to be reminded a bunch of times, like, "Hey, it's drill time," or they don't eat dinner with you anymore, and like something's wrong, something's just wrong.
It's, just real quick, so we have about 5-10 minutes left. To be respectful of everybody's time watching, we're going to let this go, or I'm not going to cut it off. This is a super important topic, right? But just so you guys can keep going down your list and kind of know.
So what you're saying is 6 minutes, nobody will be watching.
No, I know. Again, I'm not going to cut it off, right? It's a very important topic. We're going to continue talking, but just so everybody knows where we're at. So if you're listening, if you got to drop off. But we're going to keep it going, and so we can cover the rest of these topics that we have.
Yeah. So the one thing too I want to bring up, since we are starting to get towards the end of our time here. So the working with the academy and moving forward, you're going to start seeing a monthly newsletter from the Peer Support Mental Health. Yep, came out today. There you go. We're calling it the Mindful Minute. So the whole goal of this is just a kind of like the 5-minute EMS drill. It's just something quick. The links on there are active. You can click on them to get further information. But these are things that we're trying to get out every month now to the department to help stop the stigma of mental health so that we can talk about this. But then what we want to do afterwards, and we're going to be filming it, or I guess recording it next week, is we're going to also start doing a podcast filmed here so that will come out hopefully the second week of the month. So if you're bored driving in, you can listen in, and we will be expanding upon whatever's on the newsletter. And like you see today, I mean, we were talking for 45 minutes already, so it goes quick. There's a lot of information, so we really want to make sure that everybody knows.
I think there's a lot that a lot of us don't know, right?
Yep.
This is still pretty new. It's not new, right? But for the fire department to try to break
It's pretty new.
Yeah, I guess it is, right? So it's a lot that a lot of us don't know if we're not intimately involved with it. I think Chief Gibson had another point or question that came up.
There was a couple of questions on here. One, it starts off as a comment. When it comes to CISM, years ago there was a sense of forced participation post some incidents.
Yep.
Where do we stand with CISM participation versus allowing a shift to work within themselves to handle its own people?
So the goal when we come into the CISM after an event is just kind of guide a debrief after the event. You have a bad event. We're not going to make it necessarily forced. We want you to come in. We want everybody to be engaged. But we want you to talk about what happened, because that is the first step to healing from what happened. So coming in, talking to the CISM team, it is 100% voluntary. You don't have to talk while we're there. And then we just kind of give a spiel of, that event sucks. Sometimes this sticks with us. Here are the resources available. Reach out to us if you need help. And if nobody needs help, we leave.
So the answer is CISM is never mandatory.
Correct.
Right.
If the company's going out of service because we're doing CISM, we're doing it, but you're not forced to participate.
You are not forced to participate.
As everything else in the fire service, it's evolved, and it's not quite as strict and military-like as it was when I was a rookie, right? So it's much more. It's just like we're here because of this event. We probably wouldn't have been here today because of the event. We would have hopefully been somewhere else just talking about peer support stuff or just engaging with people, but it's not a sit down, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You don't want to be in the room, don't.
And
Yep.
I think
Leave.
it's also about education too. So when these
Exactly.
events happen
Exactly.
and our peer support system team shows up, we should be paying attention to, are any of these symptoms that are on this table coming up, right? Like, it might not hit you today, it might not hit you tomorrow, but maybe in 3 days or in a week, right? You might start noticing that you're feeling a little bit more agitated overall, or that you're having a hard time staying focused, or that your sleep is messed up, or your appetite has changed. Like, these are things to pay attention to that maybe our peer support, when they show up, that's a visual reminder, like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to those things because they're talking to me about this. I'm not feeling that right now, but maybe in a few days, I know who I can talk to because that's who
Right.
came over to us.
Yeah, and then this is going to segue to, with that question, a little bit for me for my Froms hat. Working at Froms, learning the workers' comp stuff and first notice of loss and everything there, it's very important if we have that event that our officers do a first notice of loss. So now on the workers' comp claim, there is a brain injury. It is proven that when we have these events, it is a brain injury. So for those officers out there listening, do the first notice of loss when we have an event. Get that recorded. Froms we'll have you see our doctor there at Froms, and we can put you on the 85 process, give you a couple days off, free leave for you to decompress. We ask that you reach out to Doc Lee in the mental health suite. We ask that you reach out to your therapist or whatever, but start that healing process. But the biggest thing is getting you to record that incident. So if we now, 10 years from now, are starting to show up late, disheveled, there's a track record, then you can get covered by workers' comp moving forward.
An interesting thing when you brought up brain injury, right? So PTSI, post-traumatic stress injury, right? It's an injury.
Yep.
And if you take care of it by talking to a shift mate, talking to your spouse, talking to a peer support person, just talking about this is what I saw or this is how I was feeling about what I saw, it doesn't become a disorder. I have a disorder. It will never go away. I could have had these 100 injuries and they all could have gone away. I didn't pay attention to what was going on. I didn't take the hints when people were saying you should go talk to somebody. I was afraid of the stigma, which we'll have a whole podcast on that. Enlighten you on some of that stuff. And it became a disorder, and nobody deserves that. Just right. So it's nothing. I commend the fact that you guys have got it to where it's an injury and it gets covered and all that stuff, because that's important to somebody's mental well-being too, whether I'm getting a check or I have to burn on my leave or this, that, and the other also. But it's just like a sprained ankle. It'll get better after a few weeks. If the brain injury will go away if you hit it right away and work on it.
That's really good.
Disorders suck
for me as an officer. And again, I've seen some of that now in my new role with safety. That I kind of knew that was a thing, but that's definitely good for everybody to know. Is there any other main? I didn't study your sheet ahead of time as part of this, or it's unscripted. I didn't want to know exactly where this conversation was going. Is there any other main points we want to hit real quick before we do one last wrap up and let Chief Smedley?
Yeah, just one last thing off of what Mike was saying for the first notice of loss. I think a lot of people think that our team has a role in fitness for duty evaluations or return to work or changing your work status, but we do not. If people come and see us, it's voluntary. You want to see us, you want to work on whatever it is that you're struggling with, and we don't go back to Froms and be like, hey, this person really should not be working. Like, we don't do that.
That's the whole process. I think acknowledges the fact that everybody is different, right? Every situation is going to be different, and it allows that flexibility, which is great. So, again, these guys are going to come back. They'll have a whole podcast on a lot of these individual topics to really unpack all of it. And if you're interested in a specific part, I'm sure you guys will delve a lot more into that in your podcast. Chief, is there anything else you wanted to end with as far as the mental health discussion and what it means to you and going forward?
Yeah. So what I would like to say is that we're all in this together, first and foremost. And as you can see this on the podcast, and that is refreshing. I do want us to think about what are things that we don't have that would be beneficial in this space, so we can start to work through those things to try to get those things. We did just recently work collectively to apply for Assistance to Firefighters grant to bring more mental health resources in here. What I would say to leave us with, and I'm a coin Dr. Lee's phrase, don't hoard your mental health.
That's great. Thank you, Chief. And thank you guys very much for joining us. It's a very important topic that we don't talk about enough, if at all. So thank you guys very much for being here. We look forward to your next podcast and unpacking some more of this stuff. Just to wrap up, a couple upcoming things. Again, you guys can see we built out this podcast format. So Dr. Kelsey Tandler and I will be recording a podcast next week about some sleep hacks, which could potentially help with your mental health, right, and your work performance and everything else. So we're going to be recording that next week, and then that'll be out. Information will be coming out on how to listen to these podcasts and the different platforms that it's on, and where to find them if you want to actually listen to them not live. We have one coming out from the command post on the new command chart layout for the command officers. That'll be coming up here at the end of the month, or probably beginning of next month. And then we're also in the process of scheduling an episode on the FEMA deployment for the hurricane effort that the FEMA team went down and provided the relief. Some of those members of the HEART team are going to tell their stories on one of our episodes also. So all that's coming up. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us, and have a happy and safe New Year.